let's take a peek at the game, The Shadow of Yesterday.
Yeah, I don't have a character for that. Do you have a spare?
Yeah, I do. And do you have anything to write down on?
Yes.
Okay. This is actually the beginning character, Violet. The ability check in The Shadow of Yesterday is you roll 3 fudge dice, and then you apply that to your ability, and that's adept, competent, or unskilled. And then you look at you look at the little chart they've got here for the ability check. If you have a bonus die, then you roll that die, but you still only read 3. Now, you can, also in this game, you can stick with just simple resolution. Opponents get a countering roll, but it doesn't subtract from the winner's success. So that's actually something I like about this game, is that even though they're opposed rolls, you don't decrease the winner's effect by the loser's effect. The loser you simply have to do better in order to defend successfully.
Right.
And so but the important point is that it's simple resolution most of the time. So if you say, I want to kill that guy, and you succeed, they're dead. But there's an option to do something called bringing down the pain, which is a full subroutine of nuanced combat. One of the interesting things about bringing down the pain is that you don't do it under certain circumstances, like most games. You do it when you lose and say you want to bring down the pain. In other words, it's like, yeah, you've beaten me, but I refuse to accept this as a defeat. Now we're going to the nuanced rules.
Gotcha.
As I recall, the GM cannot bring down the pain, if I remember correctly. So anyway, that's the situation. I'm going to suggest that the strange bestial mutant man, who's basically been living on a pile of glowing blue crystals and it hasn't done him any good, is going to be screaming and leaping at Violet to probably make her his crystal wife, or perhaps worse, perhaps he just wants to feed her to the crystals. She's dead or not. Yeah, if she's, in fact, that's his first attempt, is he's going to attempt to seize you and feed you, to the crystals. Let's give him his chance to seize her and grab. So your defense would probably be react.
Okay. So I'm adept at react.
And this guy is adept at seizing, and just to be nasty, some other player just gave me a gift die and you didn't get any. So
okay. Do I get does this count as spear fighting, or only when I try to spear you later, maybe?
The bonus?
Yeah, the specialty or whatever.
No, that's just in the fighting.
Okay, cool. All right, I got +1.
Okay, and I ended up with +2. So
right.
I end up with just to go and make sure we can look, because this is fudge based and we love our adjectives for results. So competent is 1, and adept is 2, and unskilled is 0. So we're both adept, and you got a great result to oppose, but I got an amazing result. So
gotcha.
The way the system works is I just fed you to the crystals unless you want to bring down the pain.
Well, I don't think I want to be fed to the crystals by some mutant man. So.
Right, especially because he's gibbering and stuff like that, So it's
doesn't seem to be a good reflection.
Right. It's the only way to permanently injure or get rid of a major named character controlled by the story guide. And since this is, I don't know, um, a whole bunch of heinous names occurred to me, and I can't say them, so never mind that. The story guide cannot bring down the pain. All right, now this volley, we have to say what our intentions are. They're one action for the volley. We have to decide whether they're perpendicular actions which get in the way of each other or parallel actions which do not get in the way of each other. So, what is your goal or your action?
Well, attempt to impale. This would be
Okay.
patriarchal.
There you go. Yes. And his. Oh, by the way, are you checking to see what you do with your pools? There you go. Players can always spend 1 point from the ability's associated pool to get 1 bonus die on an ability check. 1 bonus die per ability check. So you could be just spending your pool into these as you go along, which is probably a really good idea.
Yeah.
And
does it matter which pool I choose, or is it just flavor?
I'm double checking the what are they called again?
Vigor, instinct, and reason.
Right. I think these are vigor.
Okay, cool. I will vigorously try to bring my spear down through your body.
And you also get a bonus die for the specialty. So you're rolling 5 dice now. Just nice. De facto. So I'm going to just go on with just 3 unmodified throughout. And this particular bit, you're trying to impale him, and he's trying to basically cough up like crystal power from his belly where he swallowed the crystals and blast you with it.
Nice. Right. So, all right. Well, I got 2 successes.
Okay.
+2 rather.
And okay, so you got +2, and so that puts you at an adept, which moves you to, I guess, an amazing, right, or whatever it was called. Interesting. So that's the since it's initiated by a player, the opponent always gets a bonus die in the beginning. So the player is always up against it in the beginning of the
nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. So basically, you never start bringing down the pain from a position of advantage.
Right.
So let's see. Now I do get a super crap roll with with -2. God, I forgot how to read the dice. I keep reading them like Champion's Core dice. I get -2. So I am knocked from adept down to unskilled, or which is a marginal. Which is that's unsuccessful. It's not even a marginal success. So yeah, I'm in failure. So that means, let's take a look. Yeah, that's even with my bonus dice. 2 characters take action against each other, perpendicular. It's a resisted ability. Okay, the loser at this check, right. If we were doing things, I'm going to say that these were perpendicular. One of us was going to get in first. That's how I see it. Otherwise, it's boring. We're just hitting each other. And that's a dumb thing to do, right? So, so in this case, I mean, it'd be interesting to see, because we could do that. We could just hurt each other on the way in and just see, who goes down first. But in this case, I'm going to treat it as perpendicular, which is to say one or the other is going to punch in the attack first. And it's you. And so now the difference between the success levels, holy cow, that's terrible. What's the difference? What was your success level?
Amazing.
And mine is failure. So I'm going to take like a ton. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take 4 harm. And then okay, we're going to go back to this in a minute. Now we're going to take a look at harm, okay? I have a little chart. There's 3 circle. It's a little column, right? So there's 3 at the top, and that's called bruised. And then there's bloodied, which is the next 2, 4 and 5, and then down to broken at 6. And what's kind of interesting is that it's equal to the difference. So I'm going to take 4 harm, which makes me bloodied, which means that I'm going to have a penalty die to all actions that are in this particular pool of vigor. Yeah, so this is actually kind of, as I recall, it's quite nuanced because you can take different kinds of harm. You're taking harm to pools separately, or rather, they're categorized by pools separately, which isn't that important for our purpose. And you can still function at broken, but if you take harm beyond broken, then the winner wins. That's the way you win.
Gotcha.
So the other interesting point is that you can switch up your abilities that you want to use per volley. So you might be doing different kinds of harm and so on. So those are
nice.
It's especially if, for example, you want to stop them from doing something and they're using some other pool, right? So
right.
So the way this one works, I mean, we could just keep rolling off. I'm at my -1 now, right? So, and I lose the one that I had for my bonus, and I lose the one, and so I don't have, the gift die anymore, or the bonus die anymore, and I'm at -1, which is another die to roll, but now I get rid of the highest.
Right.
So, so I'm going to say this time, having taken the spear, basically, my goal is to rip the spear away from you. Basically, just grab the haft and seize it and, wrench it away. And I'm going to say he's got there's an ability for this. Let's just make him competent at this ability. He's strong, but not amazingly strong. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm competent and I'm wrenching away the spear. What are you going to do basically instead? You can go full defensive if you want to, but that's just sort of a delaying tactic in this game, I think.
Yeah. I think that I will sort of allow the maneuver just enough to get the spear dislodged and then drive it back down for a second blow.
Right. Okay, good enough. I'm trying to think about whether that allows like an ability to get factored in. There are ways in which you use an ability to enhance another ability. So if you had some ability that was like some kind of sneaky or something like that, or some kind of thing that allowed you to do that. So you got your bonus die for fighting a man. Do you want to spend another pool point?
Yeah, I think I'll spend another one.
Okay. So here I am, and I'm up against, and I have I have a penalty because I am bloodied. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling. So I have to get rid of that, which puts me at a pure and simple 0 at competent and nothing else.
That puts me at a -1, which brings me down to competent. I got 2 pluses and 3 minuses.
Okay. So in that case, we look and see what that does. Right, the harm is equal to the difference in success levels. So there is no difference in success levels. So no harm is done. However, since mine didn't succeed either, basically we're kind of staggering around with you. We're basically wrestling over the spear.
Right.
That's what's happening. So so the next question is, are you going to change up on anything? I haven't exactly made up a very nuanced character for you to fight. So it's not, but I suddenly realized that in this game, having a bunch of various abilities that you can shift to is actually kind of important.
Right.
Or that you can combine in different ways for interesting effects. And you know about gift dice too, I think, right?
No, I don't think so.
There are 2 dice sitting in the center of the table, and
Mhm.
anybody can just grab one and give it to anybody involved in a roll at the moment for no
Gotcha.
reason.